No, I know what's best for you because I'm older. I'm your parent.
I know what's best for you because I'm younger and I have this new outlook on life that you might not have.
Huh.
I win. Thank you very much. Well, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Teen Talks. We are going to be talking about exactly that. Do parents know best? Do they know more? Because of how long they've lived and because they've lived longer lives than their kids. Well, I'm not too sure about that. Susan, what do you think?
Hmm. Well, I know I've said it before to my kids. I know
Hmm.
what's best for you because I've been around longer and you haven't. Have you heard that from your parents, Rayhan?
Um, Yesterday, the day before yesterday. I've definitely heard it. I still hear it from time to time, and
Mm-hmm.
I understand it. I understand where they're coming from. I understand where my parents are coming from for sure. I know that they've experienced a lot. They've seen a lot. They've been through a lot, you know? But I also know that they're not me. They don't know what's going on all the time in my life. They don't know what I'm going through and the things that I'm living. So sometimes I have a hard time when they tell me that, when they tell me that they know what is best for me.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle with that sometimes. I definitely do. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think when you were a teenager?
Mm-hmm.
Like think back not too
Yeah.
long ago when you were a
Yeah.
teenager. What when your parents said that to you,
Mm-hmm.
what happened to your body? What did you think in your head? Did it do anything?
I'll tell you right away, like the immediate reaction was always like, I, it was never a, yeah, that's true. It was always like, I don't think so. In my
You don't know
head,
what's
at
going on in my
least.
world.
Exactly. And I was always, it would always create this friction and this tension inside of me because I did not agree with what they were saying. Um, Looking back on it now, I
Mhm.
understand that, they're looking at things from their lens. So they see things and they're relating it to their past potentially and what they've experienced. So they're like, we've been through this. Well, they think that they've been through this. So then they're saying, well, based off of what they've learned and stuff, well, here's what we've learned and here's what we think you should do. That's essentially where they're coming from. It's coming from a place of love ultimately.
Mhm.
But at the same time, whether they think that they experienced what I was experiencing at the time, and whether that's true or not, chances are it's just not the case because, first of all, I am not the same person as my parents, right? That's just the truth. And
Mhm.
I'm living a completely different life, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm a different person. So you combine those two things and it just means that it's so I personally think this is from me. I personally think that it doesn't make sense. That statement right there where I know what is best for you. For me, it doesn't make sense because I almost ask myself, like, based off of what? You know,
Yeah.
where how do you know what's best for me? Like show it, like prove it to me. How do I know?
So from a parent's point of view, we do feel like we have a lot more experience.
Hmm.
Okay. And we do feel like we know our kid pretty well,
Yeah.
and so we're thinking, I know what's best for you in
Hmm.
this situation. We think, we're coming, like you said, we're coming at it from love.
Of course.
But do we really know what's best for them? I think we do in an overall, like an overview of, but in the moment, maybe we really don't in
Yeah.
some ways because we're not exactly sure what's going on. And that's where, the communication between the parent and the teen, that's critical to really
Yeah.
understand, do I know what's best for you? And I
Yeah.
think that it was funny when we were talking about what we might talk about today, and you said, I know what's best for you. And I went, oh, I've said that a million times. Okay, maybe that phrase is not a good one.
Yeah, I agree.
you know,
I agree.
maybe something to come in and instead of I know what's best for you, come at it from a different angle. I just say, I see this going on. Tell me a little more.
Yeah.
I I do have some experience in this area. Would you like to me to tell you what my experience is instead of it coming at it as this? I know it's best for you.
Yeah,
Here's what I know about this type of thing, and if are you interested? And this is
100%.
the point when we're talking teenagers here. We're not talking children, you
Mm-hmm.
know, childhood. I think the ball game changes, and
Yeah.
the way we talk to them and the way we want to give advice
Mm-hmm.
needs to be a little different.
Yeah.
They're not going to
And
hear you.
exactly. Just to piggyback off what you said, because I was thinking the same thing just before you'd said it, is like that statement of I know what's best for you, it's coming from a place of I am better than you. I know better. Like it's coming from a place of I'm here, you're here.
Mm-hmm.
And for a teenager, if you think about it, just with everything that's going on in their life, teenagers are very self-centered
Oh yeah.
because they're just experiencing so much and like they don't even know what's going on themselves with themselves. So they're just like all this stuff is happening and they have to focus on themselves because it's their growth period, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that means that their ego is very much present. So when they hear someone telling them that, they're inferior, the automatic response is going to be like some sort of like friction or tension. It's going to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Uh,
Uh-huh.
I don't think so. You
Yeah.
know, there's going to be some sort of, not like a rebellion, but there's going to be some conflict there for sure.
Right.
And like you said, there are better ways of approaching that situation where you meet them at their level, right? You meet them at that level of, you know what, I'm here with you, like let's work this out together instead of telling them this is the way to do it. This is the only way to do it because I know what's best for you. Because you can just as I'm saying, you can hear how that can come across.
And it's funny because it makes me laugh because I'm thinking if somebody said that to me now,
Yeah.
like maybe my husband or I don't know, somebody, even a friend, and they say, I know what's best for you. I'd be like, what? You
Yeah.
don't know. I'll
Yeah.
listen to what you have to say, but you don't know what's best for me.
Yeah. I
I'd
was
get defensive.
yeah, I was saying it to you just before, like right in the beginning of this podcast, and you looked like you were about to throw hands with me, Susan. I was like, I'm sorry. It's just a joke.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
But
not
no,
something that people want to hear.
yeah, it's not,
Even
it's not
and why do we
kind.
say it?
Yeah, yeah. So I think like exactly what you said, there's a different way to frame it, right? You can get the same result, if not even a better result, by just framing it differently, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you gave a perfect example of that where instead of saying, I know what's best for you, you're just coming at it from a different angle and you're saying, look, you know, I have experience in this domain, right? If you want my help, if you want any suggestions or if you want me to help you out with this or guide you, you know, I'm more than
Mm-hmm.
happy to share that with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I understand
Right.
that maybe you don't understand it too well, and that might be the case. But if ultimately you want to make that decision on your own, then that's fine, right? But I am here
Mm-hmm.
to help. I mean, chances are they're going to want to take you up on the help, right? In that situation, then if you were to tell them, I know what's best for you, you have to do this, because they're probably not even going to want to do that suggestion anyways if you give it to them that way, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. I
so
mean,
yeah.
even it's hard to give advice to a teen as a parent anyway, because
Mm,
they're already like, Mom, you don't know.
yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
That's where you get the role of the I. But
Yeah.
then a coach or somebody else can give them the exact same advice or whatever, and they're totally open to it.
Yeah.
So, it is so important how you come at things when you talk to your teen, because you're either going to
Yeah.
shut them down like that and just they're not going to even bother. But if you
Yeah.
come at it a different way, you might go, okay, I'll think about that. Or,
Yeah.
you know,
No, it's true. And I think the reason why when it comes to the parent and teen dynamic, The reason why it's different, and the reason why, for example, when a parent would give their kid a piece of advice, the kid would probably be like, yeah, whatever. But then they'd hear the same piece of advice from a coach, like you said, and they take it and they'll be like, oh, wow, that's the best piece of advice I've ever gotten ever in my life. Right. I
And
think the
they'll
reason
come home and
why,
go, hey, guess what my coach told me?
yeah,
And you're just like,
exactly. It's like, that's what I said yesterday. Like, come on. Um, no, but I think the reason why is because of how strong that bond is, right? Of how close and connected you just are naturally because of,
hopefully.
the way, yeah, upbringing and everything. That's just the way it is. So because of how strong it is, it also makes it very delicate.
Yes,
It makes
very.
that relationship so delicate, which is
Yeah.
why, as parents, again, this is coming from my perspective, but I think Susan will back me up on this. I think that's why, you know, parents have to go about things a bit differently.
Yeah.
There's a different way to approach things as a parent than you would if you were a coach or a mentor or any other sort of leader or authority, like kind of authority figure, you know?
Uh-huh.
Um, but
An
yeah,
elder,
yeah,
somebody older.
one of the one of the
We cannot,
elders.
yeah. And also, do I really know what's best for you? Because I mean, I don't know everything that's going on with your life.
Yeah,
And my life growing up when I was a teenager, there are some things similar, but there are so many things now
yeah,
that I have no experience in and don't um understand, most likely, things that are going on in a teen's life right now, as far as I know best what's for them, because I have no idea what they're going through now. It's
yeah,
so different from way back when I was a teenager,
yeah.
you
It
know?
is. It is. I relate to this because like my parents' upbringing was very different from mine in the sense they grew up in East Africa and I grew up in Canada. Right there, you have a huge difference in environment,
Mm-hmm.
right? Upbringing, social life, everything. Everything was very, very different. My parents grew up in a situation where, they'd go to school, then after school they'd come home, they'd do their homework and stuff, and then they just go out and play,
Mm-hmm.
right, with their friends and they
Yeah.
meet up and that was their life. And
Yeah.
it was very social and stuff like that. Whereas for me, I mean, I went to school, came home, did my homework, and then I had, I don't know, piano lessons or drum lessons or soccer practice or something that was happening, right?
And
I
did you
yeah,
have one of these?
I got my first phone when I was 13 or 14. So that was when I was
Okay.
in France. Um, but
And it
then
probably
yes,
wasn't a smartphone, but
it
now they all
wasn't.
have smartphones.
Yeah. So
And so,
even there's a difference. Like from my teenager experience living in the
yeah.
Western world is different from what like teenagers today are experiencing because the world is just
Mhm.
constantly changing. It's evolving,
Yeah.
right? So I do believe that I can understand it better because I witnessed a bit of it personally,
Hmm.
but I also understand like, you know, things are just constantly evolving and changing.
Yeah. So you're
And
21, and for you to understand what a 13-year-old's going through
even
today
that, yeah, even that's
has
tough.
changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even that's
Yeah.
tough to do because just because of how fast things are changing, right?
Hmm.
I guarantee you right now that there are thousands, if not millions, of 13-year-olds who are better off with technology than I am. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty good with technology. I mean,
Hmm.
when it comes to phones, computers, all that stuff, editing, I mean, websites, like you name it, I'm pretty good at that stuff.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you that there are like hundreds of thousands of 13-year-olds who probably know more than I do.
As far as technology goes. Yep. Yep.
100%.
That's so true. It's interesting because there's a difference. I have a 6-year gap between my oldest and
Yeah.
my middle. There's a 6-year gap, and then there's 2 years between the two bottom ones, right? So my oldest one, he even notices, he says, look at the difference in what's important to them, which was important to me. And
Yeah.
he can see just a 6-year gap that changed because of the technology, for one, and what that's done to the culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally different. That's why we have Gen Z, all these different generations. And
Yeah.
it's so interesting. So me, I am considered the bottom of, or the tip of the baby boomer era, right?
Mm-hmm.
Entirely different than the millennials, than, all these. And that's just the culture and the way life has been.
Yeah.
And so we have to realize as parents that we are not in the same culture.
Yeah.
It's different. And with technology and all of that, and the rapid movement, it just gets faster and faster and faster. The
Yeah.
changes are huge,
Yeah.
huge to
Yeah.
society and the culture.
Yeah, and that's leading me to this one thought of there's another statement that is made, and this kind of goes along. It's
Uh-oh.
similar to it's similar to the I know what's best for you. It's the statement of when I was your age, I used to,
Yeah.
and it could be anything. When I was your age, I used to work, or when I was your age, I was, in the fields, like I don't know, collecting corn, or I don't
When
know what
I
they say.
was your age, I used to walk through the snow uphill to
Yeah.
school and uphill back.
Yeah, 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 exactly. When I was your age, we didn't have phones. We'd go out and play and stuff. It's like, I know, and I believe you, but that's not the world that we live in today. And I'd even go as far as to say, it's like, thank you for going through that and experiencing that. And this might be controversial. I don't know how people are going to take it, but it's one of those things where it's like, thank you for going through that because now you've given the opportunity to make life easier for your kids. Like my parents had to, experience what they experienced, right? Like my dad, I know that he had to go through a lot and, do a lot of things. And then my parents left Kenya to move to Canada to give a better future for my sister and myself. And,
Yeah.
you know, I thank them, like, thank you for doing that. But at the same time, I mean, those are choices that they made. And now I'm living my life thanks to that and that I appreciate, but I'm also living my own life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
In some way, and this is going a bit deeper now, but in some way, as a kid, I didn't make any of those choices. Those
Mm-hmm.
choices were made like regardless of me, right?
Right.
I didn't have any say when it came to those choices.
Yeah.
So in some way, and this sounds horrible, but I don't really owe anything to those decisions, or like I'm not, because I'm not involved with them.
Mm-hmm.
However, that doesn't mean like I don't appreciate them. I'm so grateful that my parents did what they did because I would not be where I am today. And I carry that with me all the time, right? It's in my head. I
Yeah.
understand that. But, if my parents were to tell me, when I was your age, I had to do this and this and this, and, I paid for this and I was taking care of my parents and all that. If they tell me anything like that, I'm like, I understand that, but that was your life. And now
Mm-hmm.
what you've done is you've created a better life for me. So let me use this opportunity. Like that's how I go about things now with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's almost just you have to almost take a step back and understand like, yeah, they're not living the same life that you're living anymore, right?
No.
They're living a
Yeah.
different life. They're living their life. And there's a difference. There's a big
Yeah.
difference there.
There is a big difference. That made me
Yeah.
think about what the choice I made.
Mm-hmm.
So my ex-husband, the parent or the father of my kids, we got to finally move to our dream place. And so we lived by the beach in California. We got to live there. It's where we used to go vacation. We finally bought a house there and we had our son there and um everything. And then 6 years later, we had another son. And all of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden I went, as much as this is our dream place, it's not the place I want to raise my children.
Mm.
And so we made this decision to leave this dream place
Yeah.
because we felt like it wasn't a good place to raise our children. And
Mm-hmm.
so then we moved to Washington. And so that right there changed their life and their experience and what they, but we made that decision. It
Yeah.
had nothing to do with it. And then they spent the rest of their childhood growing up here.
Yeah.
And same thing. So, they have no idea of what it's like to live down there in California by the
Yeah.
beach and the culture there that's so different than the culture up here.
Yeah.
So same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And sometimes like I wonder because like when I look into the future and stuff and I imagine myself like, with my kids, sometimes I wonder because I know what I'm going through right now. I know the story that I'm writing for myself. And there are a lot of ups and downs. Like I understand like I'm going through challenges and it's like a constant battle that I am fighting, if you want to put it that way, just because of the ambition and the goals that I have, right? And I'm choosing this
Yeah.
life.
Right.
Um, but then I wonder, it's like, do I would I want them, my kids in the future, to experience, you know, something similar, right? Because I like it's one of those things where I know what it can forge. I know how it can make you a better person. I know how it can build you as a person, like experiencing challenges and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But also know, like, I'd want to provide for them. I want to give them a better life in some way,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
there's also a constant battle there that at least I think about. I don't know if you can talk about that at all from your experience, Susan, but yeah,
Well, I've also seen too that, I know what's best for you, or this is the way you should do it, doesn't
yeah,
always work for them.
mm,
Okay, let's say they accept that in a negative, they'll probably accept it like, okay, I'll do what you say.
yeah,
Is it what was best for them? I don't know.
yeah,
Like, I think I've mentioned this before, but it was always you're going to college, you're going to
yeah,
college. And we saved so that they would all go to college. It was expected, just like it was expected of me when I was growing up.
yeah,
Well, they did it. The last two struggled. COVID didn't help to get
mm-hmm,
through it. But was it the best choice for them? We made
yeah,
the choice. They picked where they were going to go, but we kind of drilled it like this is going to happen.
mm-hmm,
And I don't know that it was the best choice for
yeah,
them, not all of them, you know. And so did I know what was best for them? No, maybe not.
mm,
So yeah, be careful with that. So
yeah,
I think we made our point. This has made me think more, I have to say, even more than I thought we were going to be thinking on this. But
yeah,
yeah. So the words like we've talked before, the words we say matter. And do we really know what's best for them? Something to consider. At least use
yeah,
different words, come at it differently. Because maybe
yeah,
we don't know exactly what's best for
yeah. And
them.
I think it's a good idea to like strike a conversation with them, with their
Definitely.
teens to understand their situation a little bit more because maybe that'll help you help them better,
Yeah.
right? Um,
Mhm.
and it might help you come at the situation a little bit differently.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Open communication, same thing.
yeah,
Always comes down to that's the most important thing is to just you're not the one who knows it all and you're not the authoritarian. You're not up here. You're, shh,
yeah,
you know, at this point.
exactly. Yeah,
Yes, you can set boundaries and all that things. We can go into that. Boundaries are important. They need them. But
yeah,
that's another topic we should talk about another time because I think that's one that's kind of confusing. I found
yeah.
it confusing when I was raising my teens about
Mm,
what is a boundary? How do you set boundaries where they're not punitive, but rather accepted and understood? Because I
yeah.
don't think sometimes teens understand the boundaries that parents are setting. And
Mm-hmm.
then that creates rebellion.
Yeah. No, yeah,
So
we
I
should
think,
definitely talk about that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, interesting. I will
Yeah.
never ever say to anyone, I know what's best for you.
Yeah. Ugh.
So,
Yeah.
okay. Well, If you want some more tips, I've got my 5 tips for parenting teens well, which the link is down below. Free download. Go ahead and download that. And we want to get this message out. So like, subscribe, comment, reach out to us, ask us, what can you talk about this? Or I'm struggling with this. We would love to know, because we're always looking for what it is you want to hear, what you want some help with.
Yeah.
And coming from 2 widely different perspectives from this young one here who was a teenager not too long ago, and he's still like an adolescent, to the old one here who's raised 3 and has been an educator for 37 years. It's interesting. We're
Yeah.
finding it interesting to talk together and see the differences and what we have alike in common and where we are totally different.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
we hope to
Alrighty.
see you on the journey at least next week. We
Yeah.
drop every Friday a new
Every
episode.
Friday.
And we'll have a teen special coming up soon too.
Coming soon. Every month.
Yeah. Something
Yeah.
just for your teen to
Yeah.
help them.
So look out for those for sure.
Thanks for being
Alrighty.
here. We've been trying to come up with I don't like to say listener or viewer. I'd like those who are really resonating with us. We want to create a community. We're trying to come up with a name. What can we call us? Each other, all of us, those who are watching and enjoying this and getting something out of it. If you got a name, drop it in the comments.
The Teen
Trying to think.
Talkers.
Teen Talkers. I know that wonderful Mel Robbins talks about her friends.
Yeah,
I
friends.
don't know. It's yeah.
We'll
I always
figure it
feel like
out.
I'm talking to mom, but
Yeah,
there's some dads listening, I hope.
think so.
Yeah. So
Think so.
anyway.
We'll figure it out.
Yep. Okay.
Alrighty. Take care,
Have a
everyone.
great week. Love on your teen.
Take care. See you next week. And by the way, Susan,
Oh.
I know what's best for you. All right, bye, everyone.
Bye.